And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Howdy folks, today we're going to talk about something different than board games. We're actually talking about a board game accessory. Now, if you play games with me, and I really like to make my board games look nice. I like to accessorize them, if I really like a game, that is. There are some games that are just screaming. Some games have great components, but there are parts of them that you can make better. And one of the companies that does this is Litko. Now, disclaimer, Litko is making my new dice boots of different colors, and I really like them. They really look sharp. They have my logo on them. And I like their dice boots quite a bit. But what I liked is they also have is they make board game components, or like pieces to spice up your board games. Now they have two of those right now, two games, and that is Twilight, Imperium 3 and Arkham Horror, although the pieces for both can be used in a few other games, a couple other games anyway. So let's take a closer look at them. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the products for Twilight Imperium. The first is the fleet stands. Now the fleet stands are made up of 3 thin rods and a plastic piece that these rods go into, the holes, and then you use these rubber rings to hold them into position. Although the rods are fairly tight sometimes, so I was able to nudge them in, and I don't need the rubber rings on all of them. Sometimes I need it, like for example here, you can see this one has 2 and then 1 without. Just all depends. Once you have these rings, or once you have these stands, you're able to put your fleet on them so that you can move the fleet to another spot and then leave everything that's on the planet there. It's a pretty neat effect because, one, you can see the fleets as they move around the board. You can move your whole fleet like this to attack a planet or something. I mean, it's a really cool effect. And so this can be used in Twilight Imperium and Eclipse and games like this, but mostly for Twilight Imperium. One of the things that the first expansion gave was colonies and refineries. And I know a lot of players don't use these quite that much. I use them all the time. They only cost 1 resource and they add to your planet. But the problem is you put them on a planet and you might forget which planet they're part of, or where they are. And so there's these new markers that you can put on. Now these aren't that big of a deal, but I mean if you're going to, make the game look nicer, you just put them on the planet that they're part of. So when people see that planet, it's kind of a visual reminder that they are on the planet. So a closer look at the pieces, they come in separate packs. And then you have to decide if you want to get them or not. So for the Twilight Imperium stuff, I could see the refineries and colonies are nice and all that, but what's really nice is this stand. I mean, it just really adds a lot to the game, and I really like moving them around. You can leave your fleet that's already on the planet there, and just that visual effect as you look at the board and look at the fleets. This is something that any die-hard Twilight Imperium player is going to want. Now let's take a look at Arkham Horror. In Arkham Horror, you get different characters that fit into little stands that you can move around the board. There's a new stand that's out that Litko's made where you can put it in and it will stand up. And I mean, it's a little easier to, it won't fall over nearly as easy, but that's not why you have the stand. You see, they make these overpriced miniatures. I think they're overpriced, that you can get for the game. If you buy all the miniatures, you spend quite a bit. But the miniatures don't look as nice as the pictures, I suppose, or maybe you want to use both. So then you can put the miniature here. I'm going to use this Heroescape figure to show you kind of what it would look like. So you have the miniature and then behind it a silhouette, and that kind of gives some more feeling to the game. I don't know if these are really useful or needed, but I mean, if you're going to buy those expensive miniatures, well then why not go all out? However, something that I do think is a really cool addition to the game, and I'd recommend if you're Arkham Horror fan at all, is the gate tokens right now as they show up on the board in locations when they come out. You can see them and they're neat, but it might not be something that immediately strikes you. Well, now you can buy these black gate pieces where you can slide the gate into that and then it stands on the location. Now, not only is that, well, stinking awesome, but it's a neat way. It's a 3-dimensional view, and you can look at the back. Well, there's the piece falling out. But if you look at the back, you can see in the back, you can put it in front. I guess to me, I'd put them in like this. I don't know. You can put them any way you want. But there's 2 different kinds. There's the Blackgate ones. These are bigger, easier to see on the board. And then there's ones with tentacles. These are the ones I actually prefer. I don't know why. It just has that Cthulhu flair about it. The tentacles and the gate. But either way, I like the fact that I can stand the gates up on the board. Coupled with that, you can get these tokens here, the Elder Signs, that show when a gate is closed. So I put that in the gate, and it just is a really nice depiction. That gate is closed. Or on the tentacles, the gate is now closed. So these tokens, which are pretty good quality plastic here, that's a really nice addition to the game. So, of the 3 things I'm showing you, these stands I think are the best of the 3 things to get. Now, if you're really going to go all out, why not use these little magnifying glass tokens that you can put out instead of the cardboard tokens that come with the game? Hey, you know, we're buffing up the game, why not? So, if you're really feeling elaborate, these are a neat addition to the game, and you can put them on a board and get clues, and hey, it's a little magnifying glass. While we're on the subject, in Letters of Whitechapel, you can put these clear tokens down to show the clues as you find clues during the course of the game. And it's a decent workaround, but interestingly enough, you can use these magnifying glasses, which happen to be the exact same size, and so as you find the places where Jack the Ripper might have been, you can put these magnifying glasses on it. And I actually think I like this use of these magnifying glasses better than the one in Arkham Horror. This is a neat mechanic, adds a little bit more theme to it, already pretty much filled with theme games. So another use for the magnifying glasses. Alright, so which of these is the best to get? Well, if I was getting them in order, the ones I would get first would be the stands for Twilight Imperium, because that's great. And the fact that you can use them probably in other space games. I haven't tried them with Galactic Emperor. I don't know if they might be too big for that. But with Eclipse and Twilight Imperium, it's so sharp looking. Then I really like the gates and the sealed gate tokens for Arkham Horror. They're very nice. The other ones are neat too. The little magnifying glasses are neat. I actually stuck those in my the Whitechapel game rather than putting them in Arkham Horror. But still, it's neat to have the different options, and it's neat to have those games. I mean, when you bring out Arkham Horror and Twilight Imperium 3, you're bringing out a game. And to make it look even better, well, I like that. So these are neat. They're pricey. I mean, if you add them into the original game, you're going to really bring up the cost. But if you want your game to look sharp, to look fantastic, and people look at these and say, wow. And that's what they'll do when you add these to your game. I like them a lot.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.